I'm working on the audio, guy. Let me go. I'm trying to fix the audio right now. I'm working on the audio, guy. Let me go. Doing good too, and damn, I don't know why it's not going in. Oh yeah, hold on. Chrome tab. All right, I'm fixing it now. I know what's wrong. All right.
Thank you, Senator Kennedy. Yield myself
There we
5
go.
minutes to question. Oh, pardon me, Senator Coons, you want to go ahead? Okay. Yield myself 5 minutes, and I thank the panel. Thank you for your willingness to serve. Thank you for putting yourself through this process. I'd like to begin with you, Mr. Chipman. Much of in fact, the majority of homicides involving firearms involve handguns. Is that correct?
That's correct. And thank you for the question, Senator.
All right.
What steps do you intend
I'm
to
going to
take
share
should you be
the
confirmed
link out if anybody wants to join.
to stop the proliferation of illegal handguns and reduce the level of gun violence involving handguns on American streets?
There you go. If anybody wants to join, you can
Senator.
join right
the top
there.
priority of ATF will be a focus on firearms trafficking.
This dude
by
is a
focusing on
scumbag.
the illegal transfer of guns from lawful commerce into illegal commerce, the selling and illegal dealing of guns to criminals is the best way to prevent crime with guns. The ultimate responsibility of ATF is to do what is within our powers to prevent those offenders from ever getting a handgun if they can't lawfully possess it in the first place.
Thank you, Mr. Chipman. And this is a question for both you and Ms. Milgram, please.
I don't like that dude, Durbin.
Seen a
He's a scumbag
significant
too.
increase
Why are
in
there so many
violent
scumbags,
crime
man?
across the country over the last year.
Hey, JFD, want to join me?
In the city
Jordan?
of Atlanta, for
We
example,
do. Everyone
homicides
is
increased 60%
welcome. Anyone
year
can
over
join
year.
me.
I was recently out at a park in my neighborhood with my wife and dear friends celebrating our friend's son's 1-year-old birthday party, and gunfire erupted at that park.
I'm sure it did.
People who had been fighting moved several blocks west throughout the afternoon. Gunfire erupted again. 15-year-old girl was killed. 2 young people wounded. Will each of you, Mr. Chipman and Ms. Milgram, please commit to joining me in Georgia, should you be confirmed, to meet with leaders in local and state law enforcement, as well as community leaders, the Atlanta Police Department, the Fulton County Sheriff's Office, to discuss how we can tackle and reverse this disturbing trend of increased violent crime and homicide that's taking lives and doing grievous harm to so many families?
Yes, Senator. I'd be delighted to join you if I'm confirmed.
Thank you, Ms. Milgram. Mr. Chipman?
Yes, Senator. I'd welcome the opportunity to visit Atlanta, visit our Atlanta Field Division, and visit ATF's critical lab that's located there.
Thank you. I'm going to ask you a similar question about 2 other areas.
His
of
face
my
looks like
state that have
Play-Doh.
seen comparable significant increases in violent crime over the last year. The city of Savannah is experiencing an outbreak of homicides.
The crews
and
might
shootings
bring
at
that up,
levels not
by
seen
the
in
way.
3 or 4 years. Last fall in Savannah, violence escalated from on average a shooting every 3 days to one every other day. Will you similarly please commit to joining me to meet with Savannah's political leadership, Mayor Van Johnson, the Savannah Police Department, and the Chatham County Sheriff's Office to discuss how to reduce violent crime in and around Savannah, Georgia?
Senator, I would commit to you that I believe that violence is critically important that we address it. And if I'm confirmed, I'm happy to assist you in any way with any meetings or otherwise, and any other members of this committee in any way that I can.
Thank you, Mr. Chipman.
Senator, thank you very much for the opportunity to again go to your state and meet with local law enforcement, which is
He has
ATF's
crazy
role to
eyes. You ever
support in
notice
their
that?
efforts to prevent violent crime.
It is indeed. And so, Mr. Chipman, in the same vein, I'd like to also ask you if you'll please make the same commitment to meet with me and the leadership of Augusta's Police Department, the Richmond County Sheriff's Office, and leaders in and around Augusta, Georgia, to discuss similarly increasing
Is he
rate
just
of
going to
violent
name
crime in the
every
Augusta area.
city in every state and be like,
Senator,
hey,
I
you got to
agree,
join?
that I will commit to that visit, and it'll
Me.
be nice to visit a place of Georgia I have never visited.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your willingness to serve. Thank you again for putting yourselves through this process. Senator Blackburn's recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you so much. And to our witnesses, thank you for bearing with us today as we have been in and out. Mr. Chipman, I'm going to come to you. There's been a lot said about your affiliations and the organizations and how that might influence your work at the ATF. And one of the things that I hear from Tennesseans is they want the ATF to be going after criminals, not after law-abiding gun owners. So how would you execute that?
Thank you, Senator. And thank you also for spending the time on the phone with me earlier
Sure.
so we could meet. I think the perfect
All right,
example
let's
of
see what he
how
says.
Tennesseans should expect ATF to respond is how we responded to your city that was bombed on Christmas. We will always be there in the worst hours to
That's not what she
determine
asked,
who
jackass.
committed a crime and bring them to justice if we can. We will always be focused on criminals. That's what we do.
And I hope you appreciate why people are very concerned about your stance on the Second Amendment.
Yeah, he
and
did
are
execute
very
people before,
concerned
didn't
that
he?
you would
Burn
be
'em.
going after law-abiding gun owners. So let me ask you this. In the House Judiciary Committee hearing on 2019, you said, and I'm quoting you, simply reinstating the
Hi,
90-era
Mr.
ban on assault
Dr.
weapons is not enough.
Fennell, Val,
Hey,
You to tell
GOA
me
Pennsylvania director.
what is enough in relation to the state?
That's Marsha
Thank you
Blackburn.
for
You
the
probably know
question.
that.
In that hearing, I was commenting on the fact that I had the opportunity to enforce the National Firearms Act for 24 years. That was an act that balanced the right of individuals to possess those firearms,
By
but had a
violating their
regulatory
rights, right, Val?
structure that I found
right, there's balancing, no such
the
thing as
ultimate good
balancing,
for all
right?
Americans.
That's
I
code,
thought,
that's
and
code
I
for they want to
believed
restrict
at
them.
that time that the National Firearms Act
It's a
would be a
dog
proper
whistle.
way to balance
right.
the rights and
So
responsibilities
the
of
National
Americans.
Firearms Act would be enough.
I believe that the National Firearms
Let
Act would be enough.
me ask you this, because in the same hearing you continued, and this gets to the question that Senator Kennedy had for you, and I'm quoting you. Instead, we should regulate a broader class of firearms, including assault weapons manufactured before the law's enactment. One option would be to require the registration of all existing assault weapons under the National Firearms
So
Act,
this guy has an
while
agenda.
banning the future
Oh, yeah, this is
manufacture
Chipman.
and sale of these
Yep.
firearms. So in these statements,
I wonder
you're
who
talking about
who
expanding the National Firearms
I wonder
Act,
who gave
correct?
Marsha
Yes, ma'am.
Blackburn that
Okay.
that quote.
So that would not be enforcing it as it is written. That would be a change of policy. And then you would ban the future manufacturer. That would be a change of policy. Banning the sale would be a change of policy. And in these statements, and going back to that hearing, you were referring to common semi-automatic firearms when you speak of assault weapons, correct?
Senator, in this hearing, I was acting as an advocate and was asked to propose solutions to complex problems.
And you
As
were
the direct-
referring to semi-automatic weapons, correct?
He doesn't want to answer that.
Yes, Senator, but
Yes.
as
Thank you very
director of
much.
the
Okay, Ms. Jadot, I'd like to ask you a question, please, ma'am.
Oh, she got him.
We are quite concerned about some of the practices that have taken place.
Did you see the look on his face when she cut him off? It was like, thank you, I got what I got.
USCIS. During your time as the chief counsel at
You need to say,
USCIS,
"Turn me
the
over, I'm done
agency
on this
expanded
side."
the use of
Yeah, hold on, I'm gonna get
discretionary
water.
parole
Be right back.
activity from a restricted case-by-case basis into a variety of new parole programs such as International Entrepreneur Parole, the Filipino
Ugh.
World War II Veterans Parole Program, and the Central American Minor Parole Program.
I just had to go get my
This
water.
Expanded
All right.
use of discretionary parole through these new programs.
In my belt.
Actually circumvent congressionally established immigration policy.
Immigration. I don't
And
care about that.
USCIS
Val, did you see what?
exceed
Check
its
out this out.
authority under
JSD gave
law
me this.
created by Congress by
All right, hang on a second.
admitting aliens who did not qualify for admission under normal
My belt.
and legal immigration categories.
Give me a championship
Thank
belt.
you, Senator, and thank you for taking the time to
Absolutely.
meet with me or
Yes,
on the phone.
I
Thank
enjoyed
you.
it.
Yes, I did too. Thank you. With regard to your
I
question,
think she'll probably get confirmed.
we looked at the Immigration and Nationality Act, and I have worked with at the time, other attorneys in the agency as well, to determine if it fits within the structure of
So,
the
Val,
Immigration and Nationality Act, and we did determine that.
What should
and
everyone
therefore we
do
proceeded.
about
So you
David
feel
Chipman
that none of
confirmation?
these
Should they
programs
contact their
went
senators or what?
outside of the authority?
That was the
Yeah,
determination.
I mean,
we made.
GOA
So
sent
why
an
not
alert
just
out
go
on
by
that.
the law is written?
So the way the law
To
is
contact their
structured is there's
senators
a
and
case-by-case
oppose-
determination.
Correct.
And those
Oppose him
programs
strongly.
certainly set out guidelines for adjudicators, but nonetheless,
He's
every
he's bad.
individual must
I mean, he's an
apply,
advocate with
must
the
submit
Giffords
an application,
organization.
must be
You know,
reviewed, have background
you
checks,
want
and
somebody in
adjudicator
this role
must
as
review that
ATF
application
director,
very
someone to be
carefully before they make
objective.
a decision.
And he's
And if
not.
someone is an
Well,
advocate
I
for
will
gun
tell
control,
you,
then
this
then
appears
he's going to be a source
when
for
you expand
a
the
lot of
use discretionary
regulation and
parole
policy
authority
that the
and,
ATF will make unilaterally. See, that's the problem.
move away from
know,
a restricted case-by-case
That
basis.
with
and
the
put
way our
these new
country
programs
works,
in
you know,
place.
once
The
legislation is
appearance
passed,
of
then it
that
goes to
is
a
that you're
committee,
making it easier to
not a
circumvent
committee, I
the
mean an
law
agency,
as
and then
written.
the agency
And that is
makes rules.
problematic. I know I'm over
So
my
if you
time.
have an
I have a
anti-gun director
question
of
for
the
you on
ATF,
the birth
and whatever
ban
legislation
birth
passes,
tourism
pro or
act, piece of
anti-gun,
legislation that
he's
I
going to
introduced. I'm going to
interpret
submit
that
to you
legislation
for
and
the
write
record. I know
regulations
that Senator Cruz
that
asked me about that
that will be biased
earlier
against gun
and
owners
would appreciate
uh,
your attention
based
to that
upon his
question.
past record.
And I will say
So
this,
that's the
Mr.
problem
Chairman.
with having
Ms. Jadot,
someone
you
like
have an
him
adorable
as
family.
the ATF
And your
director.
girls deserve
ATF
all
should
the
be
ice cream
abolished.
that they want to eat
That's
this
We already
that's the
afternoon.
thing.
secretly promised them $2.
That's behind all of this. But since we have an
Because they have
ATF,
behaved
we've got to
beautifully.
ensure that
Oh, thank
whoever
you.
that director
We
is
give
is
them the
somebody who
gold
can be
medal.
objective.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
one
Senator
thing, the
Blackburn. Senator
ATF
Coons
came out of a
recognized for 5
tax
minutes.
organization.
Thank you,
It
Mr.
didn't
Chairman.
come out of
I'd
like
to thank
the
our
FBI or
remarkable panel of
DOJ or anything.
nominees for your
Right,
dedication,
right.
your willingness to serve, for all that you are going to bring to
Yeah,
our
I mean
service.
it's the
I'm listening
you
to
go
your
back to the
individual
National
stories, to the
Firearms
journeys
Act.
that
This is
brought you
just a
here.
tax, another
It was
tax on
inspiring to me.
Americans.
We stand
You know,
at a
they take
moment
your
when the American
constitutional
people
rights
are
away
looking
from
to
you, and
us,
they turn around and sell it
Washington,
back
the
to you in
federal
the form of
government,
a tax.
the Biden administration, the federal
And
judiciary here in
it's
Congress,
the same thing with concealed carry
to
licenses
see
on the
their
state
problems,
level.
to
It's
hear
just
their
a tax.
concerns, and to actually
You
deliver
jump
some
through the hoops
meaningful
and they collect
solutions.
a fee.
So
I
if I
mean,
can,
this
Ms. Strickland,
is backwards.
I just wanted to
The
ask you a quick
constitutional rights should
question
not be
about
subject
the
to
difference between an
uh,
advocate and a
prior
judge
state
and how you understand
approval.
those different roles. And then I'm going to get
Yeah,
into
one
more law
one
enforcement
thing
related issues.
I
for our
don't
remaining
understand is
nominees. Ms.
how the
Strickland?
NFA
Thank you
doesn't
for that
violate the Murdoch
question,
versus
Senator.
Pennsylvania
As an
rule.
advocate, my role was defined
I don't
by
know.
the
Case.
Sixth Amendment to
You know,
zealously work
like,
within
it's a
the
direct
bounds of
tax-
law and the
direct
best
tax on a
interests of
right.
my client, and I've
Mhm.
tried to do that over my career. The role of a judge is quite different. The role of the judge is also defined under the Constitution. The
Yeah.
judge is to approach every case
How many
Wait
people
for
are
it.
watching, John, with us?
With deliberately putting aside
20
any
some.
personal opinions the
Oh,
judge
okay.
might have in order to fairly consider
So,
the
all
facts,
right.
the law,
For
and
like
the
a
argument of
midday
counsel.
stream. Most people are
Well,
still
thank
working.
you, Ms. Strickland. If I might also.
We never stop
Ms.
working.
Jadu, USCIS, I've gotten a number of calls, as has my colleague, Senator Hirono,
We're talking
about
over the
backlog,
non-Chipman
for
people
USCIS for fingerprinting, specifically in Delaware, which
and
has put
non,
thousands of
gun
Delawareans'
issues.
lives on hold, keeping them from visiting loved ones or getting jobs. USCIS has made some strides recently to address this and has cut the backlog in half, including by eliminating some unnecessary requirements imposed by the previous administration. Can you speak to how you will address these ongoing processing backlogs and commit to keeping me updated on the situation in my home state?
Thank you, Senator, and thank you for that question. This is exactly why I think this is the right moment for me in this job. I have been in that agency and I understand those little minute steps can really create backlogs, time-sensitive backlogs. And I have seen it, so I can
mean, you
hit the
can't tell
ground
me there
running.
isn't
I have
somebody
built
in the
such
senior executive
wonderful
service in
relationships
the
with the
ATF
dedicated men and women at
that couldn't step
USCIS who
into
I
that
admire
role and do a
tremendously.
competent
And I
job.
know I can work with them.
You know,
And not
somebody
just them,
who
it's partner
is
agencies as
a
well. That we
professional
need
career
to
government
build
employee
strong working
who
relationships. And I have a
understands
running
that his
start.
job is
Well, I
to
look forward to working with
take
you in that context, and I
legislation
know there's
and
thousands
translate
of
that
families in my
legislation
state
as
that are
accurately as
looking for some
possible
relief
into
from these
regulations.
significant challenges.
And
Mr. Chipman, if I might,
that would be, if I
Senator
was
Cornyn
POTUS
and I
and I had to appoint an
have
ATF
recently
director,
reintroduced a
I
bill,
would
the
look for
NICS Denial
somebody like that
Notification Act,
and somebody who
which
is
would
not
require
biased against
federal
firearms,
authorities
somebody
to
who will do a
notify
competent
state and
job.
local law enforcement
And
when
somebody who
someone
would
goes in,
understand that
lies on their
it's
background
not
check
the
form,
ATF's job to
tries
make
to buy the
regulations
gun, and
independent
this is
of
someone who's a
law.
person
Those would be
prohibited,
the
so it's
things that
against
I
the
would
law
look
for them
for
to
in an
get that
Val?
ATF director.
Current law does not require
They're
any
talking
notice
about
to local law
the
enforcement.
Hunter Biden
There were
rule.
100,000 federal background check denials in 2019. In some states, because the background check goes through state police, they get immediate notification. But in a majority of states, including mine, they don't. Can you help explain why it's an urgent warning sign when someone tries to buy a gun, fails their background check because they're lying? They're a convicted felon,
Hunter
say,
Biden.
and they're trying to get their
Right.
hands on a gun. Why is this something we should take up and pass a bill to require notification to state and local law enforcement?
Senator, first, thank you for the question and thanks for your dedication to this important issue.
His face looks like Play-Doh.
I view this as a near miss. In many professions, you study a near miss because you feel lucky that the bad thing didn't happen. If someone's willing to go into a gun store and lie and commit a federal felony, we shouldn't expect that it stops there because there are loopholes in
94% of those
law.
denials are false.
As ATF agents, it's our
That's
job
also
to
correct.
ensure that the information we have is in the hands of local police who might come across these people. So it's not only good policy, it's a way ATF can support local law enforcement and keep them safe.
Thank you. Now I'd like to ask about what we're going to be doing together to not just make law enforcement more transparent, more accountable, but to make law enforcement more effective. I'm from Wilmington, Delaware. You just heard from Senator Ossoff from Georgia, concerns about a rise in violent crime in cities in his state, in Savannah and Augusta and Atlanta.
Now let's look at
In my
why.
hometown of Wilmington, despite the best efforts of our
Right.
mayor and governor and our police department,
Yeah,
we have seen a
it's gotta
steady
be
rise
guns.
in violent gun crime. Mr. Polite, I understand from your testimony, you became interested in serving as a prosecutor when your own half-brother was murdered. And you've spent time clerking for
Rural
Judge
areas have
Ambrose,
2
a
to 3
personal friend
times
on
the
the Third
firearms
Circuit,
rate
and
of
serving
ownership,
in the
but
Skadden Arps office in
far less
Wilmington, a
gun
place
crime
I
in
was
urban
a
areas.
summer associate.
Oh, yeah.
So you know a thing or two about my hometown. Mr. Chipman and Ms. Milgram, you're nominated to lead the ATF and DEA and to work alongside Mr. Polite, who will be leading, hopefully, DOJ Criminal Division. And all three of you have significant experience in law enforcement and have great experience in addressing violent crime in American cities. Ms. Milgram, you spoke about Camden and the work that you did. I'd be interested in hearing from each of you what role you see in coordinating between the ATF, DEA, and DOJ's criminal division to reduce violence in our communities. Whether you'll commit to staying engaged with me and with other members of this committee in the Senate as we work with our local communities to try and address and interrupt the ways in which
drugs and guns and gangs and violence seem to be going together, and how you see this journey, should you be confirmed, of trying to bring more peace, more justice, and
No
more
problem.
order to our communities. If we could, in order, Mr. Chipman, Ms. Milgram, Mr. Pillai.
Senator, first, yes, I commit to this collaborative approach. It's one I found effective at ATF. And I do believe that the ATF will have information and intelligence and techniques and technology that, when married with the ground truth that a local law enforcement agency has, that's a good pathway to preventing violent crime.
Ms. Milgram.
Thank you, Senator. I've had a job as a state chief law enforcement officer where a prior attorney general had taken over the police department of one of the most dangerous cities in America. So I understand this concern. And my belief is that one of the things we did there was we partnered with the DEA, we partnered with ATF, we partnered with other local law enforcement agencies and state agencies in order to do a concerted effort to reduce violence, improve community relations, and bring accountability. And it was incredibly effective. If I'm confirmed to lead the DEA, I believe that one of the great strengths of the DEA today is its partnerships with states
All
and
right,
local law enforcement.
Okay.
They're a big
Blah,
part
blah, blah.
of
Chipman
running task
sucks.
forces across the country and also sit as an important part of HIDA. So I am deeply committed to addressing the issues of violent crime. Drugs drive violence in our communities. In Camden, it was a huge part of the work we did was drug related. So you have my full commitment, if I'm confirmed, to partner with you, other members of this committee and Congress, as well as with the other agency heads in the Department of Justice in any way that I can to be
By
helpful.
the way,
on
she's
this.
anti-gun.
Thank you, Ms. Milgram.
Just
Mr.
to let you
Pillai.
know.
Senator, thank you for this question, and thank you for your commitment to this area. I would also note that I'm a proud member of the Delaware Bar, and most importantly, my wife was born in Wilmington. So we have very close ties to your state. Like my colleagues assembled here, I share in this commitment to collaboration in this area. During my time as U.S. Attorney, this is exactly the way we approached many of the same violent crime issues that crippled the city of New Orleans. And what we did was establish what was called a multi-agency gang unit. It included agents from ATF, DEA, other state, local, and federal law
anything about
enforcement
this guy,
agencies
Val?
that worked shoulder to shoulder, not just in terms of sharing intelligence, but
Hold
actual
on, you're
personnel
muted.
in space.
Sorry, Val.
Where they
No, that's okay.
investigated those cases and ultimately decided what was the appropriate venue in order to address violent crime that was caused disproportionately by a small number of individuals in the New Orleans area. That level of collaboration is what I view as being the hallmark of our work then, and I look forward
No,
to
who's this guy?
lending my voice
Kenneth
to
Allen.
those same discussions and that same level of collaboration that you articulated.
Well, thank you. I'm not just a member of this committee. I'm a member of the subcommittee that funds all of federal law enforcement,
Donate for
DOJ, ATF,
DOJ.
DEA. And I look forward to working with you because we have a real challenge in this country. We need to strengthen our communities. We need to strengthen families. We need to push back on the drivers of violence and division. But we also need to provide more effective, more timely, more relevant federal resources to support state and local law enforcement and communities.
You noticed
as
whenever
are
they
trying,
go to ask a question, they
bring
always
peace
have
to
to
our
have a
streets and
comment.
justice to our country.
Yeah,
So
that's yeah, they're from the government and they're here to help.
thank you for your willingness to serve. And Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the time to question.
Thank you, Senator Coons. Thanks again to the nominees for your testimony, your willingness to serve. Before I adjourn today's hearing, I want to enter a number of letters into the record and make a few logistical notes. We have received a number of letters of support for today's nominees from those across the political, professional, and ideological spectrum. These include letters of support from Ms. Cunningham from intellectual property experts and practitioners, letters from multiple law enforcement organizations in support of our executive branch nominees, a letter of support from the Criminal Defense Bar in support
Thank
of Ms.
you,
Strickland and
VA
many
Wolf.
others. I will enter all of those
It
letters
says
into
a
the
little
record without objection.
Buckage for
Questions
you,
for the record will
neighbor.
be due to the
Great to
nominees
see
by
you.
5 p.m.
Yeah, I
on
haven't seen you
Wednesday,
around
June
lately, man.
2nd, and the
Where you
record will
been?
likewise remain open until that time to submit letters and similar materials. With that, this hearing is adjourned.
All right, that's it, guys.
Wow, what do you think?
I think he's the most anti-gun nominee that's ever been nominated for anything in the history of the United States of America. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's really bad. GOA was on top of this and sent an alert out regarding Chipman deposing the nomination. Do you think we'll be able to turn some Democrats against him, like Joe Manchin or Kristen Sinema?
Maybe. I hope so.
That's
You know
what
what?
we
I
gotta
realized
do.
my color's all off. I was like, what the hell? And I realized I don't have my studio lights on. I have my regular lights on.
Oh yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, I just threw on my Brio really quick. I just got my Mevo Start in the mail today, so I'm gonna plug that in next and get it all set up. But I just flipped on my Brio and my ring light just to do a quick one.
Yeah. Midnight Range TM wants to know what the point of the hearing was, what was supposed to accomplish. Okay, here's the point of the hearing. The point of the hearing is for a bunch of senators to stand up there and like peacocks and strut their stuff and then go do what they're going to do. The hearing actually does nothing.
Right. It's all this.
But it does give us a little insight on what they're thinking.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it's also a way for the senators to make points and attack organizations. Like, we see that at the state level too. Yesterday in our House Judiciary Committee hearing, someone just used the time to attack the NRA. That's really all it's for. Very rarely does a committee meeting or hearing change anybody's mind.
Yep. Just a quick question out there to the people out in the audience before everyone leaves. Who in the watching the viewers smoke cigars? You like cigars? I don't like cigars.
I every now and then, but not too often.
Well, Brownells was giving away some cigars down there. But yeah, just if you do, let me know. Just let me know. Just let me know if you smoke cigars. I don't have any Brownell cigars, so but I don't smoke cigars. My buddy Putang Clan from your neck of the woods, Pittsburgh, he was like one of the guys with JFD that did the build up. So he was there with JFD down at Georgia. Okay, cigar and pipe smoker. Okay, Crazy Scottman, hit me up because you just won a Brownells cigar cutter.
Woohoo!
You just hold it up, put the cigar in here. just kidding. So hit me up and send me your address. You'll get this. Crazy Scotsman. Yeah. So I don't think it really accomplished much. I think we all knew what was going to happen. Hopefully this jackass doesn't get confirmed because that would be very bad.
Yeah, all they do these hearings, it's just to jerk you around. That's all it is. But yeah, I mean, it's going to come down to grassroots action and getting enough members and supporters to send messages in to their senators, their U.S. senators, and just basically say, don't vote for this guy, don't vote to confirm. And then we got to just put pressure on the influenceable people. I mean, West Virginia, to me, is rapidly becoming the model pro-gun state in the country. And if Joe Manchin, I don't know if he's going to retire or not, but if he's going to be reelected and wants to be reelected, he's going to have to respond to the will of the people in West Virginia, and that would be the one vote necessary to flip, to not confirm him, assuming all the Republicans vote against him. That's always an issue. But it comes down to grassroots action, and it's like Senator Dirksen said, when I feel the heat, I see the light. There's got to be enough people to write in, and some, some senators are a lost cause. I mean, we have Senator Casey here in Pennsylvania. I mean, you could like set the world on fire in front of his office, and he would still vote anti-gun. There's just nothing you can do about it. The Philadelphia money backs these guys, and they just don't care. They know who their supporters are. They know where the money comes from. I mean, they're never going to respond. So the only way is to get rid of them. I mean, you gotta elect them out of office. You gotta just primary him or defeat him in the general election. Take out the rhinos in the primary and defeat anti-gun Democrats in the general. Run pro-gun Democrats against the anti-gun Democrats in the primary. If you're in a good district, you can do that.
Yeah, you can definitely do that, and that's what
Yep.
we really need to do.
Yep. Don't rule it out. I mean, there's like in Pennsylvania, we have Southwest PA. It's very Democratic, but it's also more pro-gun than Southeast PA. So you could run a pro-gun Democrat in primaries there, and knock out the socialists and the anti-gunners. It's possible to do.
Yeah, it definitely is possible to do. We just have to do it.
Yep.
And it takes a lot of work.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's like a lot of people who run for office. They think I'll get some petitions signed. I'll get my name on the ballot, and then they don't know what to do. They don't do anything. I mean, it's just a lot. It's knocking on doors, and I mean, bigger the district. If it's a state house district, that's a lot of doors to knock on. If it's a state senate, you can't knock on everybody's door. It's impossible, right? So you have to pick areas to, go and, okay, we could do well in this area, or we can influence people in that area. And then you knock on doors, you meet the candidate, you build alliances, you get endorsements, you raise money. It's a huge undertaking. You can't just put your name on the ballot and do a few Facebook posts.
No, you can't. I think that's going to be one of the biggest issues there, is to have people realize that.
Right, exactly.
So what we're announcing is Val Fennell is going to be running for something in Pittsburgh.
And I'm not in Pittsburgh anymore, though. I'm in York, Pennsylvania.
York.
So,
You mean running for something in York?
I don't think so. No, that would be really tough with my state duties for GOA.
Well, it would be helpful for GOA, right?
Well, it could be, but I'd be one vote out of 203 if I was a state rep, or 1 out of 50 if I was a senator. But that would be, look how many more people we influence at GOA. We had thousands of messages come in today on constitutional carry.
Yeah, congratulations on that, getting that out of. I know you had a lot to do with that.
We did. We started last fall, and we met with Representative Kaufman, I, and a few other activists, and because they didn't do anything with constitutional carry last year, we met with them like in September of 2020, and we said, hey, our goals for the next year is like, of course, we didn't know that Biden was going to get elected, so the Second Amendment Protection Act wasn't at the top of the list at the time. So we told them, hey, we would constitutional carry and strengthening the preemption laws are like our two main things, and so Representative Kaufman, the chairman of that committee, listened, and then we started building support for Bernstein's constitutional carry bill back in January. I had a volunteer, his name's Harry Sills, retired Navy submariner. He was responsible for like record number of co-sponsors. He just picked up the phone and he dialed all day long. So he did a lot of work for that. Plus, we generated co-sponsors through statewide alerts. And now the bill's gonna be on second reading, I hear, on June 7th. So we're moving along.
Oh, that's
it's like
really good.
You can get bills filed. Anybody can file a bill, but once you file a bill, you got to push it. And it's like Morton Blackwell said at the Leadership Institute, in politics, nothing moves unless it's pushed. You have to overcome inertia. And push.
Yeah, you do.
Right.
And that might be hard to do, but we got to do it.
Right. Roger that. We got a meeting coming up, don't we?
Yeah, we do. I just wanted to get this stream on. I wanted to watch the stream just so I know what's going on. We haven't, and I went to, nothing's going on in Virginia. She's joking. Everything's going on in Virginia all the time. She's been working on national stuff, so I really haven't had a chance, but whatever. Yeah, so we do have a meeting coming up. I want to thank everyone for watching the stream. I will be back tonight. I have 2A EDU on, and 2A EDU is freaking an incredible guy.
All right.
So,
Thanks for the invite.
thank you.
All right, we're out.
See ya. All right, guys. That would be it. Thank you for watching. And yeah, come back tonight. By push, it's generally sorry, I mean a bunch of things because they're illegal. All right, cool. All right, see you guys later.